Carmen, let's talk about employee leasing companies or PEOs. Have you heard of those before?
Yes.
And so for those people out there that don't know what a PEO is, it's a professional employer organization. So...
Oh, wait, I was thinking something else.
You were? Okay.
No, go ahead.
So what that is so sometimes, and a lot of times smaller businesses, so you've got, 10 or 15 employees. And so what a employee leasing company does, they come in and they go, look, Carmen, we're going to do your payroll for you. We're going to pay your taxes for you. We're going to have the workers' comp for you. It's all in a bundle.
Right.
So based on your FICA, FUTA, SUTA rates, we're going to charge you so much to write the check. Here's your work comp rate. And let's just say you're a carpenter, right? So they'll say, out the door, Carmen, it's 25% because you include all your taxes and we're going to write the check and your work comp rate. So all that together is going to be 25% of your payroll.
Right.
So fair or not fair, I'm not sure. But I'm just saying that's kind of how it's presented. So now you find a lot of people that are in employee leasing companies. And the reason they're in it is because it's convenient.
Right.
Now there's a cost for convenience, right? So now that you have somebody else do it for you. And I'm not saying PEOs are bad. I'm just saying that the same thing about trust but verify. But as business owners and the business owners that I'm talking to, if you're in a PEO and you decide, okay, now we're coming out of a PEO. Now we want to go ahead and buy workers' comp. We're going to get a payroll company to write the payroll checks, or we're going to do it, with our own payroll system. And we're going to buy workers' comp from, let's just say, one of the work comp carriers, say Bridgefield, AmTrust, ICW. There's a lot of work comp carriers in the state of Florida. So now you're looking to do that. So now instead of a bundled product, it's unbundled. What a lot of these business owners don't know is, so when you come out, your mod is a 1. We talked a lot about experience mods.
Yeah.
Because you're under the PEO's workers' comp. It's their program.
Right.
So you don't have an experience mod. So when you start in business or you've been in a PEO for years, when you come out, it's a 1. But let's just say you've had really good experience, no losses. You paid in all this premium. You can have a mod. And I've got a great example, and it's right here in Sarasota with the general contractor that I met at your class. And he goes, Duke, take me out of this. And once we got him out, his mod was his premium, and I'm trying to remember, I think his premium was like $50,000 a year. Okay, $50,000. So when he came out, he had a 1 mod, so $50,000. But once we got all the data from the PEO, the losses, and we had his payroll, we sent it to NCCI for a mod, to get a mod. He had a 0.80 mod. So he saved $10,000.
Nice.
So, and a lot of businesses aren't aware of that. When they roll out of a PEO, that you can still get an experience rating. So I think it's important kind of to be aware of that, when you roll out.
Because that holds them to the PEO. They're afraid to come out of the PEO because they don't. It's what you're saying. You're going to tell them there's a possibility, there's a mod for you.
I think a lot of businesses grow out of a PEO.
Right.
Now
But you're saying that some of these guys will stay in it because they don't know what you just said.
They don't know about it, but a lot of them, when you start out, let's just say a contractor starts out, he's got 5 people, and he's working on his tools, so he's got somebody that can kind of, they're doing the payroll for him. They're more importantly, they're making sure the taxes are getting paid.
Right.
That's a big deal. So it is, but now he's got 30 people, and he goes, oh, now it's time that. I want to buy benefits for my guys. I want to, see what it's going to cost if I get outside of a PEO. And I'm just saying, it's just something to think about, and the audience that I have, and I got a lot of your contractors that listen, to my podcast, they'll recognize this. They understand it. So it's just something to be aware of, that when you do.
That you could get them out of the PEO.
I can get them out of the PEO. We can create an experience mod for them. And typically, if they've had good loss experience, it's going to be lower than what they came out with. So they'll get something lower than a 1.9.
Why do they want to get out of the PEO again? Is it because
now they got somebody in the office that can do payroll. They don't want to pay the cost. So the PEO charges a percentage of payroll, typically. And they believe they can do the checks a lot cheaper than the PEO. Because the PEO's it's a profit
It's all
center
about
too.
saving money.
It's all about saving money. That's it. So, but as a real life experience that just happened within the last 48 hours, this agent came to me and he said, look, I need help. I have got an equestrian school.
Big word.
Horses, right? Right? Yeah. That kind of stuff. And they've had a lot of losses. And they're having trouble finding workers' comp, right? And so it's kind of interesting when he's telling me about it. And this is kind of a whole side note. So typically, you can't loss control a horse stepping on your feet, right? So that's typically what with carriers do. They go, okay, don't climb up 12 feet without tying off. But
there's no safety program.
There's
for
no
the horses.
safety. Yeah, horses are going to kick you. That's it. They're going to raise their head back and they're going to bop
They never
your nose
listen, do they?
Yeah, well, there you go. I'm teaching you something now. So anyway, so he reaches out to me, this agent does, and I put him in touch with my buddy, Bill, who owns Invo, the PEO.
Yeah.
And so Bill is going to do it for him. So the PEO is going to take him, and he'll probably save him, $30,000-$40,000 by going into a PEO. So, but it's only because, this guy, they can't find insurance. So they're going to end up what they call the assigned risk pool, and they'll pay double. So Invo will save them some money. So sometimes it works the other way. Just based on your losses.
So are the horses considered employees?
No, the employees are the people that train the horses. They're not getting checks.
It just seemed like you said the horses were stepping on people.
Yeah, well,
so they're working for the equestrian. Who's the employee here?
Are you just trying to mess me up? You're going to mess up my whole podcast.
I think that's interesting. This one's got to come up in construction school. I've never heard you talk about someone with horses. And I thought you were talking about liability insurance for a second.
Well, how about a dairy farm? It's kind of the same thing. Cows aren't employees.
Man,
right? It's kind of the same.
I'm
just saying.
I just don't think that.
I'm stretching it out.
You're going to have a problem.
So now that everybody's fallen asleep.
With horses.
Okay.
Because if they get compared to cows, there's going to be some crap.